This part of our Christmas program is a traditional part for our congregation, for our denomination. And many of you have traditions in your own families or are starting new traditions. And traditions are great. You know, maybe there's a special pie that you make, a special cake, a special treat that only happens at a certain time of year and with family gatherings or friends. But that's a tradition that warms your heart and speaks to the connection that you have with people around you that you love. So our tradition here that I want to talk about here at Christchurch is a tradition that helps to share the light of hope and salvation that comes through Jesus Christ. It is a tradition that harkens way back to our founding, to our Swedish heritage. And I'm looking out here and I'm going, you're going to go, what Swedes do we have here? So let me tell you about that tradition, that heritage. And so one of the joys, again, our Advent theme for today, joy, one of the joys is being part of the larger denomination where we can learn from each other and share in the gospel message that Jesus has come to be our Savior. So this tradition also is part of our denomination in showing our heart for missions and for outreach. And we know that we have that same heart here in our congregation, in our area. So this tradition is about a young girl who gave up all she had to follow Jesus and his command to serve those in need. It's also a story of outreach to those who need to hear the message that Jesus, light of the world, is our Savior. So it actually, you know, I say it's a Swedish tradition, but it starts way back in Italy. So it's an Italian girl from Sicily who lived over 1,700 years ago. So it starts there. Lucia, or Lucia, was born over 1,700 years ago in Italy. She was a very beautiful young Christian girl who came from a very wealthy family. When Lucia's mother became very sick, she prayed to God for healing for her mom, and God answered her prayer. So in thankfulness, Lucia vowed to use her wealth to care for the poor and needy. So she would often bring food to the many poor Christians who were hiding in the catacombs or the caves underneath the city, because this is really important. You have to know that at that time, Christianity was against the law. So what she was doing was very risky. And I think God calls us sometimes to step outside our own comfort zone. So in order to keep both hands free to carry the food, Lucia wore a crown of candles to light her way. So it's wonderful. But there's a downside to this, because you remember she broke off her engagement. Well, her ex-fiancé reported her to the Roman police. And because Christianity was against the law, the punishment was death. And so Lucia died. Horribly, actually. She died burned at the stake. And I say that because there aren't a lot of little kids here. So she was burned at the stake, and she died on December 13th, AD 304, December 13th. And so Lucia became Santa Lucia, or Saint Lucia. Okay, so now we have an Italian saint. So here we go to Sweden. Her story, Lucia's story, was taught to the Swedish people by the missionaries who first brought Christianity there. Her popularity probably has much to do with her name, Lucia, which means light, ljus, in Swedish. I'm not going to make you say that with me, but you can practice it if you want, ljus. And with her day of commemoration, December 13th, because under the old calendar, December 13th, not the 21st, was the winter solstice, or the shortest day of the year, and on that day, the people of Sweden had long celebrated the renewal of light. So here we have Lucia, whose name means light in Swedish, died on the day that commemorates the renewal of light. It's kind of all coming together. You see how God works? So awesome. So the early missionaries were able to refocus the people's solstice celebration to a remembrance of the Christian saint. Lucia pointed the way to the true light, Jesus, whose birth is celebrated just 12 days later. The story of Lucia also reminded people to show God's love by caring for the poor. So the tradition in Sweden is that it begins very early in the morning of December 13th. The oldest daughter gets up and prepares a breakfast of coffee, Lucia katter, which is a special sweet roll flavored with saffron, and pepperkakor, a ginger cookie. Then she puts on a simple white gown with a red sash and a crown of candles. Accompanied by the other children, also dressed in white, she serves the adults of the house this breakfast in bed. This is a tradition worth keeping. So our tradition here at Christchurch is to have the oldest girl in Sunday school who has not yet been Lucia. We have done a lot of working around this. We have this girl wear the crown of candles and process in with the other girls, all dressed in white with red sashes. We have had this tradition, this procession, this celebration, I want to say for close to 25 years now. So it is awesome. So today we are delighted to have Kandaka be our Lucia. So here's a few practical instructions. After the girls have processed in and lined up across the front of the sanctuary, we will pause for those wishing to take a picture because it is a great photo op. So then we will restart the music for the recessional. And when the girls have gathered at the back of the sanctuary, Pastor Mark will give the benediction. Please then join us for a special Swedish treat in the foyer in the narthex. So now, please witness our Lucia procession, tribute to Jesus, light of the world. Through this simple, traditional processional, we celebrate the ministry of outreach and the sharing of God's love.